Okay, welcome to the Week 7 webcast. So as you can see, we're without our fearless leader tonight, Stick, and we wish Amanda and Stick all the best, and hope everything is going well. So we're going to start off with intros here. So first of all, Chief, welcome.
Hi. I always find intros curious, like they don't know who we are. Yes. But hi, good to be here again.
And the owner of the wheels.
Hey,
now with the win under the belt.
No longer winless. Feeling really positive. It's amazing how much better your outlook on the week is after you win. I said on last week's webcast, I think we could all cheer for the Wheels to beat the Hams, and we just knocked them out, kind of kicked their ass a little bit. And I think that the Wheels are probably going to start putting some fear into some people. We're about to go on a miracle run here. 8-5 will probably make the playoffs. Let's get it going. Wheels bandwagon is open.
Easy. One step at a time.
Let's take it down a notch there.
and our special guest tonight, James, welcome, President Pro Tempore. How are you?
Welcome. How are you? Must be sweeps week here on the webcast.
It is.
With this kind of special guest.
How you feeling?
The heavyweights.
Good about the Sens? You're.
I feel much better about the Senders than I have in a number of years. We really took one on the chin this week, laid an egg, but otherwise it's been a positive season so far.
All right. We'll get into that some more in a few minutes here. But first, I think we're going to start with the trivia question. Our trivia question was sent in from Mr. Thornburg. So a special question tonight. He did not follow directions and sent the question and the answer in the same email. So I am eliminated from this competition, but to be decided to maybe throw me a point. We'll
see. Hey, Vic from Pittsburgh, you know better. We talked about 2 emails when you're doing the questions. One with the question, one with the answer.
All right, so Vic from Pittsburgh. All right, so this is a 2-parter. All right, so in 2004, the Dirt Devils scored the 3rd highest point total in league history, behind only the 2015 Lizards and 2016 Hams. So this is really digging. But who was the leading fantasy points wide receivers on that Devils team, and how many points per game did he average within plus or minus 3 points? So it's actually a 3-parter tonight. So the leading wide receiver on the 3rd highest scoring Devils team, 2004, and within 3 points, what was their points average? What was that receiver's point average?
For the one player name.
Yes.
And his average.
And his average points per game.
Okay.
Within 3 points.
So
and then I have
2 parts.
And there's another part to the question.
Okay.
Think about that, and I'll give you the next part.
Okay.
That's right. Fuck you, Thorny. Get 2 points for that.
I mean, 2004 Devils. Wow, that's digging back for even playing at that point. Okay, all right.
No, bro, you're getting no points off this.
There's no chance I'm getting.
All right, that's fair because I would never get it. So.
All
right. So you got that part? Now
no,
this part I may have gotten. Who was their primary kicker on that team? Kickers. Talking about kickers. 2004.
2004.
No idea. And we're looking for per game average for that one player?
For that one wide receiver, yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Very good. So, Phil, I think you're going to run us through the standings.
I am. Yes. Welcome. So standings. We had an interesting week, didn't we, in the TFFL with the North. What can we say? Can we say putting a butt whooping on South? I mean, if there's one team in the North not to win, it's Birdo. That's right. The Giant Killers are the only Northern Conference team not to win this week. And the Sponge, our commissioner, is the victor for the South. So congrats, Chief.
Thank you. Take them where they fall.
Yeah. So here's how we shake out now. Here's our headlines. We got one team in the league standing at 5-1, and it is the AMPAC. And Berto, you and I have had a long, contentious relationship during your Giant Killers run here. But if there's one thing that I think you and I can get behind is that we cannot see the AMPAC thrive.
No.
But they are, and their running backs are scary.
Yes. And we talked about Dynasty. I know we're not talking about that tonight, but scares
we're not. But okay. Still standing on really solid ground. The Aliens, the Fats, the Hams, and the Beavers are all standing at 4-2, looking pretty good, feeling strong about themselves. And then we have another four teams right at 500. So we've got 8 teams at 500 or better, which just basically means that there are 2 or 3 serious doormats right now at 1-5. And the odd fact tonight is there are no teams standing at 2-4. So we got some gaps. We got 8 at 500 or better. Wait a second. We got 9 at 500 or better. We got 9 at 500 or better, and 3 really sucking win. But standing now, and especially for some of us, we have a win. We have a win.
Good work, Wheels.
Well done.
Yes.
Excellent. All right.
So standings wise, we're early still in playoff picture. I think though that probably starting next week or the week after, we're going to shift from just kind of looking at records to starting to look at the playoff races, look at the division races. There's some interesting ones. Divisions of the SoCo has got the Devils and the Mongols sitting at 1-5. And who is it? The Hams that are just way ahead.
And we're getting towards decision time here, right? So we're going to have a trades that should be made segment, whether it's next webcast or the one after.
Mm-hmm.
And teams really got to start thinking about, are you making a move, or are you packing it in, or are you holding? And some decisions will certainly be made over the next week or two here.
Yes, indeed. And we can get into our roundtable as we talk about this. But we saw our first trade with Thornburg making a move to get Mariota to fill the Rodgers conundrum. We can talk a bit about that. But yeah, this is the time where teams are going to decide: are we buyers or sellers? And next couple of weeks should be telling.
Wheels are still sellers this year.
Hey, I said last week, and I mean this wholeheartedly, the wheels are open for business. We are talking. We are open to talk players. I'm really excited about Deshaun Watson. That's a fun pickup. And Julio, I think he hasn't scored a touchdown, so he's due to start scoring there.
Did the Beavers approach you about Carr or Watson?
They approached me about Carr. And I told him I wanted a lot more than he was willing to offer, because he's not looking for a future keeper. He's looking for a patchwork solution to Rodgers. And I need to start Carr this week because I traded Rivers Chief, last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last week on this webcast.
Yeah, on the webcast. First in webcast trade. So I got to start Carr this week. But after this week, Carr can be had, but let's be reasonable. He's a pretty darn good quarterback.
All current evidence to the contrary. But let me tell you something. It's no accident that seller and seller sound the same. You find yourself at 1-5, come and get him.
That's right. We're in the cellar. We are sellers. Spell it either way you like. The store's open. DeMarco Murray looks strong. He looks like he'll be a nice horse to plug in on some team looking for a playoff push.
They're homonyms.
Nice. Hey, it could be the K-Wheels. We're running off victories here. We got games versus the Sponge this week. Chief, you and me got it this week. We'll get there to talk about the schedule. But
go Wheels.
No chance.
Yeah, so we got a run versus the South coming.
Sends and Killers this week.
Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe let's do that. Stick is usually a little more organized now. Let's maybe take a look at what the games are this week and have a little look at what we're doing here. All right, so Sponge Wheels.
Panel games.
All right, Chief, you want to run down the games?
And that's important because after that happens, Bird will have lost to every panelist. That's not true. He beat the wheels.
You beat the wheels.
Yes. Come on, Chief.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
It was a very
okay.
winnable game for the wheels.
You want to
and
do the game of the week now? We'll do the game of the week now.
No, do we do that later? Well, whatever. But
Yeah,
We
can hold off on that. Why don't we go to our guest panelist here?
all right, let's do that first.
So some questions for the Sens.
Sure.
So Crane,
Fire away. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, so we'll go around. I think each of us will have a question or two for you or more. But just to start off, I mean, are the Sens exceeding expectations, or are you about where you thought you would be after you made all these moves?
We have not exceeded expectations. If anything, a game behind projections. But I'll take the 3-3. Yeah. Especially, I'm kicking myself over my loss to the Beavers, 75-70. T.Y. Hilton had been on the bench for the first couple weeks, hadn't done it, or he had started for me, but he hadn't done anything. I put him on the bench. He scored 12 points. That could have been a difference. 4-2 sounds a lot better than 3-3. But we're
4-2 puts you at a tie with the Hams.
Yeah, right. And a tie for the conference lead. And we've averaged, maybe not after this week, below 60, but not much below, between 55 and 60. It's an improvement. I'd say it's been meeting expectations, not exceeding.
Okay. So a lot of trades. The Sens had a huge turnover of the roster. You got T.Y. Hilton, you got Blunt. You made some trades last year to get additional draft picks.
Hopkins is picked up too.
Yeah. So what was the defining trade, do you think, where you actually sat back and said, "Wait a second, this isn't a losing team making moves here. This is a team that's going to compete." What was the trade that changed your perspective from I'm going to hang in there and maybe, hover around 6-7 or 7-6 to I got a legitimate shot at a decent team? When frankly, this webcast was panning you for a while over the summer. What was the turning point?
Well, I've heard the critics from around the league and inside this house. Who said it's time?
He's honest. Give it to the Sens. He's honest.
It's time for the Sens to do something. And looking at my roster, around mid-July or end of July, and I just did not want to keep Jarvis Landry, Gio Bernard, Josh Doxson was not keeper worthy. These were guys. TJ Yeldon was not for sure. I needed an overhaul of the team. I tell you what was the spark for me was when Chief traded a third-round pick for Jonathan Stewart with the Aliens. And that spurred me to throw an offer to the Aliens for Blunt. And that negotiation was pretty quick. I wasn't going to go higher than the third. I offered him less, but he didn't move. And after I got Blunt on the keeper 7, I looked at the wide receivers, talked to everybody, and was not, came to the decision that I was not going to, besides this year's number 1, all picks were open.
Okay.
And including my second round pick this year, which was 14 overall, a high pick.
Yep.
And made the moves with a number 1 for next year and a second this year for Hopkins, and Hilton. It's nice finally to look at the weekly rankings and have guys that are, hey, 10th overall, and not having my wide receiver 1 being 35th overall.
Yep.
It's kind of nice. And I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer the rest of the way, unless I lose the next 3 or so. I'll be a buyer if anybody's selling. It's tough to get a deal done with so many competitive teams this year.
It's interesting you talked about the sponge trade spurring on. It's the arms race, I think, that happened in the SoCo West. I mean, the Rams are making moves left and right. I mean, frankly, the three most active teams, I think, maybe besides the Aliens, were in the SoCo West. I mean, you guys, all 3 of you guys are making moves left and right.
And we all use the Aliens.
Improve your right with the with the
Aliens.
Improving your team and making moves. So kudos to you turning that franchise around and I'll eat some crow. I will take it because I blasted the Sens a few times and so anyway, good work on at least turning the current roster around. So Phil or Chief, turn it over to you guys.
I'll let Chief go last so he can cap it. I think you did a great job, Kramer, with getting Hilton and Hopkins. Those are difference-making players. They're going to be helpful. Your pick of Kamara is turning out to be great. I was the first guy to bash you for taking Mixon, first guy, and I still don't think he's the right pick. I think you even though Cook got hurt this year, I think you should have taken him, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think you've done something where you've gone from being so average with you're right, with a bunch of guys who are right here to having some guys who are here and can go high and Brady will carry you this year, hopefully, and those other guys can put up some numbers. You can't have a lot of weeks like last week, though.
No, and besides the first week and this past week, those were – first week was, 35 points. This week was 40, but every other week in between has been 55 to 70. So, it's nice to be able to know I'm going to put something up on the board.
And that's huge, and you've got now some weapons that should do that week in and week out. And I've got some depth. I've got some depth at both positions with some young talent. Mm-hmm. Chris Carson is out for the year. He was another draft pick of mine. Yep.
And
we traded a lot of texts about Chris Carson.
What's that?
So we traded a lot of texts about Chris Carson.
I don't know.
Sure.
A couple of months ago.
I
don't know.
He could be had. He could be had by a Wheels team looking to next year.
Maybe so. Maybe the Wheels should be talking about Chris Carson and DeMarco Murray and some kind of mix of some kind. Yep. If you're looking to make a move, my office is open.
Right. Good. We'll put something on the table. But anyway. I haven't started my tight end, Jordan Reed, who's been a bum. And so I've had enough depth at wide receiver and running back to start 3 at each position. So we'll see. We'll see how the second half turns out.
Really quickly, if you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage of your trade offers do you actually expect to pull off versus out-and-out trolling of the rest of the league?
Let's see. I mean,
say it with a straight face, Kramer. I want you to say with a straight face that
I'm thinking.
Senators is high quality.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking about how I want to answer this because in looking back at all the trades all the offers, not the trades, the offers I make, if other TFFL owners would accept the first offer that I make, they would be better off. They would be better off. Because looking back, I look back at some of the trades. I look back at some of the trades that I did not make with teams, and if they had taken my initial offer, they would have been in a great position. I mentioned it at the draft. I offered Terry Rogers my first this year for Eddie Lacy, middle of last year.
Wow.
I actually made him the same thing at last year's draft, the same offer.
Yeah.
Should have taken it.
Really?
He said no. I mean, that's just an example. It's just an example. I mean, you go back and look in your files, look in your archives.
Yeah, believe me, I have a folder called Krame's Trade Offers.
Yeah.
My email account.
What I'd like to do is, see what each team needs. What do I need? What do you need? Let's
And then offer 80% less.
No, Berto, you're the worst. You're the worst.
I mean, let's take it for what it is. It's a numbers game, right? You go into a bar, you proposition 20 women, you figure one of them is going to say yes. Right, so there's 12 teams in the league, 11 others besides yourself. You figure one might say yes at the end of the night.
Chief, you've hit on a eureka moment. I mean, because Kramer, let's be candid. Your forte in college was finding that one. Finding the 1 in 20 who's just looking for you. And that's what you're doing with your trade offers. You're just out there trolling, looking for
Not true. It's not true. It's not true. There's beauty in all of my offers.
If only there were an indiscriminate owner who lived next door.
If only. Yes, this is why. Yeah, because Berto's the go-to. Anytime Berto, take Berto out, get him drunk, and you can take advantage of him. This is how it works.
Berto's a terrible person.
The Killers have never made a bad trade with Sens.
Well, and I have to be honest too. I was thinking, Kramer, I've actually made a couple of trades with you over the years, and I don't remember them being horrible deals, or I mean, Kelvin Benjamin,
Sometimes they're not. That's why I asked what the percentage was.
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of trades over the years with the Senators, but probably 1 out of every 8 he sends me. So
I think you can put it this way: it's a lot of work to get a trade done with the Sens.
That is bullshit.
There's a lot of negotiation. You got to sift through a lot of shit to get to the
untrue. Untrue. I respond quickly. I offer quickly. Respond quickly.
No, you respond quickly, but come on. Let's be fair. It takes a lot.
Berto,
it's fun.
You're the worst. You're the worst of them all.
Give and take. It's a fun event. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
I should be married to him.
Get out. We got comedians here.
Kramer, I'll give you a hard time on this, and you do usually start the furthest away from the end point. That's probably a true statement. But
no. I mean,
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's segue that into the trade that that Thornburg's making for Mariota right now. I mean, he did what? Thornburg gave up a 4th.
Yeah.
For Mariota to Nick. And how good is Mariota, do we think? I'm going to say that I don't think Mariota is a good starter in our league.
Wait, can I just put a capstone on the Kramer trade thing for a second?
Sorry, yes.
I think it's the lawyer education, being a lawyer and the negotiation. This plays into Kramer's hand absolutely perfectly when negotiating trades. It's legalese, it's nuances of deals. It's very you go back and forth for days. So let's put it at that. I enjoy it personally. I love the give and take, and you're a fun owner to have those discussions with. But getting to the end product is a difficult process.
It's a complicated dance.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's engagement, and that's the theme of 2017.
Exactly.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Phil. I interrupted. Go on.
No, I was just thinking
Mariota,
Kramer's trades, and and how the back and forth goes or whatever. I mean, it's interesting because Thornburg made the trade this week for Mariota, and he did reach out to me as well. And the back and forth with Thornburg was like this, that, no, goodbye. Where with Kramer, at least you're going to get a little love back and forth. You're going to get a little, witty banner and, some discussion about the quality of players, even if you disagree on their value. But with Thornburg, it was like, I'll give you this. No? Okay, next.
I'm very curious how a trade between the Beavers and the Devils gets done. That's like
they're perfect trading partners. Perfect.
Two rare animals.
No, you can't take out the internet.
Out there doing some sort of weird maneuvering, but they got something done.
They did, because they're both, I'll give you this, fine. That's it.
Yeah.
I actually sent Bill a congratulatory note and getting the Devils to respond to something. I would love to get outrageous trade offers from the Devils or the Impact because it's engagement.
I will say this. The Devils have been very responsive to me. They've all been one or two word answers, but they've responded. And that is progress in my book.
Hey, yeah, getting Nick to engage with the league is great. And so seeing him make a move is, especially for a keeper, he kept Mariota this year. I'm getting a 4th round pick for Mariota. Well, why'd you keep him?
So should we pivot to discussing that trade? Because
let's keep on Senators. Well, let's finish up on the Senators.
Okay.
And because Kramer, listen, I think you've done a great job as Berto hit on, and you're doing a great job with the team. How do you think you're shaping up as we get into the bye weeks, the meat of the season here? You're going to count on some of your rookies to play. We talked about the receivers a little bit. How do you feel about the young guys and the running backs?
I need Mixon and Kamara to be weekly producers, to be 6+ points a week going forward. It's time, and Mixon, who's getting a lot of touches, who's getting 15, 17 carries, but with a bad offensive line is not getting a lot of yardage. He's got to get in the end zone. Kamara's got to get in the end zone, either as pass catcher or running back. If those two things happen, then I'll be strong down the stretch. If one of my tight ends decides to play NFL games this year, that would be helpful in Jordan Reed and Kyle Rudolph to be able to put them in. But Brady's got to stay his 20+ points a week kind of guy, and Hopkins, Benjamin, Hilton, they need, one's got to have a 12-point week every week, and the other two have 6 each. If that happens, then I'm in the playoffs and in the hunt. Not if all of those things don't come together, a wild card type of team. Less than that, I won't be around. But I'm alive, and I'm a buyer this second half.
He's a buyer. Well, he's one of the 9 teams at 500 or better. Why not?
I just had one last question, and Chief, I don't know if you want to jump in here, but walk us through the process of the Mixon trade. A lot of discussion about that. Everyone has panned it. Give us your thoughts on the Mixon draft selection, rather, number 2 overall.
I'm sorry, you're asking me?
No, asking Kramer. Kramer, defend your Mixon pick.
Defend my Mixon pick?
How'd that happen?
I think he's the best talent after Fournette. He was number 2 whole summer. He's a long-term pick for me. And it was close between him and Cook all summer, down to the last week, and was strong on Mixon. And it was only the very last second that Hunt was a real possibility for me at 2. But I'm comfortable with Mixon. I'm comfortable with him, and he already is now the main rusher on Cincinnati. They'll improve that offensive line, and he'll be the guy there for the next half a dozen years.
He's the best running back in Cincinnati history.
Hey,
but things
he
are.
could be an Icky Woods. He could be a Corey. He
Corey
could be
Dillon.
a
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon.
First he's got to be Jeremy Hill.
And let's hope he's not.
Jeremy Hill playing this year?
Yeah,
I haven't seen one Jeremy Hill highlight this season.
he does not look spry, Berto. He doesn't.
He of the last 3 seasons of 9 TDs, but no, he's free agent though. So anyway, Chief, you got anything for Crames? Anything else?
No, I'm happy. I'll stand pat.
Okay. All right, Phil, what do we got next?
All right. Well, let's get into our roundtable of topics, and I think Stick gave us a few things to look at. We've touched on just kind of the swings and the way that the league is kind of balanced out right now. We had the Lizards, who started off at 0-3, and they're now 3-3. We had the Killers, who started off at 3-0, are now 3-3. The Hams have lost 2 in a row after starting the season 4-0. We're getting into these cross north-south games. As mentioned, the North dominated week 1. Bye weeks are going to start to matter and start to take effect. But right now, let's just say the 1-5 teams are out of contention. There are 9 teams all right there. Let's talk about the Lizards and the Killers to start off with as big swinging teams. What's happening there?
Simply water seeking its own level. Did anyone, and the answer is no, think the Giant Killers were a legitimate 3-0 team? Scoring something like 42, 38, and 36 points in 3 wins? No.
No.
The Lizards. Lizards are a good team, and if Adrian Peterson is really going to be the Cardinals' feature offensive player, then they'll get better. But it's one team had good luck, one team had bad luck. It's really that simple.
I like your water finding its level analogy. That's probably pretty spot on. Because I think the Lizards especially were, they're defending champs, and they're starting the season 0-3 with 2 division losses is a tough way to start for that team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Killers, starting 3-0 is maybe even more surprising, because you're right, Chief. They did it with nothing but playing with teams like me playing down to him, and
Good defense.
Good defense, yeah, good defense. But now the water is finding its level, and we're seeing Berto come back to where he should be, which is fantastic.
The Killers need to trade Gronk. What they need to do.
Wow.
This is the perfect time. This is the perfect time for this team to move Gronkowski, because they don't have talent at the running back or wide receiver position. Doug Baldwin, serviceable, is the wide receiver 1, and there's nobody behind him. Corey Davis, he's going to be, he'll be good next year. He's not going to be anything this year. But there's nobody at the running back position. A running back rich team like the Senators would be a perfect trading partner for Gronkowski. There's no other team that could benefit more from a Gronk acquisition than the Sens. There's no other team with the depth at the running back position and wide receiver position who could swing a deal. It makes the most sense in the world for the Killers to move Gronkowski now.
We just can't. I was trying to push this discussion off one more week, but here it is. Yeah, the Killers are at a crossroads. Arian Foster is not walking through that door. Marshawn Lynch in his prime is not walking through the door. Brandon Marshall's not walking through that door.
You can have Brandon Marshall back.
So I don't want him. So yeah, we got issues. So yeah, my wife did walk through the door though.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some problems.
Is the guy from Harry's Razors walking through the door?
No, not yet.
No?
So what are we gonna do? We're gonna stick it out for a little bit here. We're gonna see what happens this week with the Sens, and then we're gonna evaluate. And if we got to tear this thing down, we will. But could Gronkowski be moved? Sure. Someone come to me with an offer that blows me away, and that offer should not include Jordan Reed. Give me an offer, give me something to chew on, and yeah, all offers will be considered. After this week, let's see what happens. Because I'm 4-3, and I could easily make a couple moves to put me, get me to be a playoff caliber team, assuming Matt Ryan, gets it together. If Matt Ryan doesn't get it together, then the Killers are toast anyway, and he's not been good. And I feared the offensive coordinator change was going to have a huge impact on the Killers, and it certainly has. I think Sarkisian has, there's just or maybe it's not just him. There's other things going on there too, but that's been a huge issue. And Matt Ryan is not very good right now, and I don't have the running backs, and the mediocre running back strategy has not played out. Gillislee looked good week 1. Terrence West looked good for a couple weeks, and they've tanked, and we got issues there for sure.
God, it's great to hear that. That's a great statement coming from the Giant Killers, that we have issues here. No, you see it. That's interesting that Gronkowski is a trade target. Happy to hear that. I had another thought. I've been working on a bet with Thornburg after all of our talks with this Aaron Rodgers injury, and about how long this will, if he's out for the year and is and is gone, let's say for the rest of this year. How old is he? Is he 30? When does he turn 30? And how much does this impact his career going forward over the next, say, 2 years?
Over 30.
He's
in the 31 to 33-year-old range.
31 to 33. All right. Let's see what happens with Rodgers and how he comes back.
I want to say he's 30.
I'm gonna go look it up right now. But
33, right? Same draft as Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm. It's these things. Players are tough, and I think Kramer's done a good job, especially with not falling too in love with any players, and granted, maybe he hasn't had the talent to be in love with. But
he's 33.
All right, so he's 33.
33, yeah.
And that means he'll be 34 this time next year, and coming off,
It's on the downside. It'll be on the downside.
That's what I said. I think Aaron Rodgers has peaked, and so I made Thornburg a bet saying that starting right now, this week, through the end of 2019, that Derek Carr will throw more touchdown passes than Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think that I'm crazy. Maybe I am. But he's going to get the extra games this year, and then so it'd be a 2-year bet.
Yeah,
you're counting this year.
Starting right now.
You get this year.
I think that's a great bet.
I think that's a great bet.
Derek Carr.
He won't make
Derek Carr is not proven to be durable at all.
What's that?
Derek Carr is not proven to be durable.
Not at all. I mean, he could get hurt again and be out for a lot of time.
Sure. I like Rodgers, not that. He's rarely missed games up until this one.
Well, again, with engagement, I'm trying to get Thornburg to engage with a fun little wager. So we'll see if I can call him out here on the webcast and get him to engage with me and see about getting Derek Carr versus Aaron Rodgers touchdown passes starting now through the end of 2019.
I'll take Carr. I'll put $50 on that.
All right. Well, and this is what let's see if we can get Thornburg to engage. I got Carr, obviously. Because I was, we again with talking. This stems from the Mariota discussion. You think Mariota could beat either one of those in touchdown passes?
Here's the thing about the no. But here's the thing about the Mariota trade, and again, he's not a durable guy either. So we're talking about, okay, Rodgers on a down slope, and yet he was looking for a Band-Aid rather than the changing of the guard trade. I'm not sure Mariota is an improvement over Jared Goff right now. Right now, Jared Goff's getting better. Now, granted, if Goff is your starter, you still need a backup. But you could get a lesser backup, if you want to commit to Goff, you need 1 or 2 games from somebody else.
Get Brett Hundley.
Get Blake Bortles. He's available. Yeah, there's a lot.
I think Hundley will be okay with a full week of practice and preparation.
He looked pretty good.
There was a good article on Philly.com today about how Eagles fans aren't worried about acquiring Marcus Mariota anymore because he was going to be our savior. And even the trades that were made before Wentz was picked, those were all in play to then get Mariota. Wentz has been awesome. He's fun.
How fun? He's legit.
He is very similar. He is very similar in the way he plays to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
He's got a big arm. He is mobile.
He's bigger, isn't he?
When he needs to be. He's big.
He's Roethlisberger size.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's the next coming of Ben Roethlisberger.
But he's faster than Roethlisberger.
No, I don't think so. I think he's got.
I think he's faster than him. He's
faster than Roethlisberger. He's got the size of Roethlisberger. He moves better in that size of a body.
With the speed of Aaron Rodgers.
Yes. Yes, we're saying the same thing. He's good. He's really good.
So who else needs to make some trades as we move down the line here? Who's in need? The Wizards need to replace Beckham. That was a big blow to them.
Losing Beckham is a big blow. Ham's losing David Johnson for the year was a big blow that, I guess they can try and address. It's with 9 teams still in the midst. It's a matter of these next couple of weeks. And you said it too, Kramer. Are you going to be 4-3, 5-3? Or are you going to be 3-5? And if you're 3-5, are you a trade partner? Perhaps the other way. If you're 5-3, you're probably a buyer. So, this is the winning time of the season. So who's going to do it? The K-Wheels are going to do it. So if you're a so-so team, you don't want to be playing the K-Wheels. I'm sorry, Sponge.
So just to go back to the Lizards for a second, they lose Beckham, but with AP, back, if he can get it together here and be a serviceable running back too, this is still a good team.
Very good team. Right now, you're looking at Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, and Adam Thielen as like every week starters.
Sounds fine too.
They got Witten and Cooper Kupp to cover for buys. I think they'll be okay.
Cam's a big wild card. Cam is a big wild card.
Cam is key.
Right.
You're right. Cam is the key, and I love that Adrian Peterson is looking that good, even if just for a week or a couple of weeks. But I love that he's playing that way. Hey, let's segue out of that. We're talking about quarterbacks, and another question that kind of been thrown out there. Quarterbacks, as you see, are largely the top point getter on most teams, and they're sort of the anchor of the franchise and how many points you're going to get a week. I'll point to myself, Deshaun Watson. Picking him up, he's suddenly become a 20+ point a week guy for me, and helped me win this week. If you were able to, put a number on a quarterback and just say, all right, if I could lock my quarterback in for X points a week, for 15 points a week, for 20 points a week, and I'd live with that and take that, what would X be? And would you rather have that, or would you rather have the guy who some weeks he's going to get you 30, but other weeks he's going to get you 4? So 2 questions, I guess. Let's talk about X. If you could lock in a number for your quarterback, where do you want that to be?
So 18 is my magic number.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing.
That's 300 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Exactly.
That's my quarterback.
And no interceptions. Chief, I was 18 was my number too.
Yeah.
302 TDs.
And
Yeah,
I will sign up for that every single week.
I agree.
That's mine too. 18.
That's a terrible topic, then, because I'll agree wholeheartedly. We all agree. Sick, nice try. So let's move on to the second part of that. Okay, so if you pencil in 18, I guess that we answer that. You don't necessarily need it, guys. You go 35 one week and 4 the next. It's going to drive you nuts. So we're just going to pass on that whole discussion and say we'd lock in 18 and be real happy with it.
Sure.
Excellent.
Although I do think it depends on what the rest of your team looks like. If you're a team like the Dirt Devils, who's really hurting at the running back position, maybe you want a little bit of more variance and take those occasional 28 to 30 points and live with a 5 to 8. It'll probably be better for your team in terms of wins.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I think we were going to save the discussion of the impact largely for the future, but just looking at what they've managed to do with their running backs right now and being able to lock those guys in, and they don't have the necessarily the quarterback who's going to set the world on fire. Would you rather have the stud quarterback or the building blocks of running back? I mean, how valuable do you really think the quarterback is, and do we value it appropriately?
We're talking about the impact.
Yeah, I'm talking about the impact, but then just in general, how important is it? I mean,
I just wanted to point out one thing. If we're talking about the impact, I've really enjoyed their avatars, which Ralph talked about last week. I don't know if you've seen this week's.
Yes, this week's is good.
I'm going to check it right now.
With the pig on the platter, that's actually quite amusing.
It's Pro Bowl week.
Pro Bowl week, that's right. Big Pro Bowl, and it's the Hoboken Bowl. Great.
Well, hey, Chief, why don't we move over and you can run us down the schedule for the week ahead.
Oh yeah, if we're finished talking about that thing, and I think the best slate plans or whatever, that was a pretty easy topic to.
Dude,
sorry, wait a minute. Before we go forward, though,
comment on that.
Where is Andrew Luck?
Ooh,
where's your quarterback?
He's not on the sideline.
I know,
but I see him there.
Listen, if it was up to Chief, he'd drag his ass out onto the field.
Yeah, if.
Is Trevor Siemian your guy?
I've been as snowed as everybody, into this thing. Obviously, I knew he wasn't going to play until where we are, week 7 right now. He's not playing this week. Let's say week 9 he plays. That's 2/3 of the fantasy season. Having that information would have been quite helpful in building my team. I don't know. I have no answers to that, which is why I think the move for Rivers is going to be key to my playoff hopes. I've earned my 3-3 record. I have not played well. I am not one of the top half of the teams, but I expect to be better going forward. But yeah, this luck thing is really. I've never seen anything else like it. We talked about maybe 3 weeks ago on this webcast. Never in my history of watching football, and especially being a Patriots fan under Belichick, have I seen anything so secretive as this Andrew Luck injury.
Yeah.
It is weird. It is weird, but how's that impact the Sponge now without having that anchor quarterback? With who you got Siemian in there rolling with him, that can't feel great.
Well, and he was the guy to pencil in for 18 plus points a week. So I got to scratch and claw my way to the playoffs, hopefully, and hopefully when I'm there, he'll be back in some semblance of his old form and give me a puncher's chance.
So and you have the karmic energy going for you that I gave you Rivers, so he's destined to come back and burn me this week. So
no, but even if you look at Rivers, who he's playing, right? Besides Denver and Jacksonville, you got New England, you got Dallas, you got Cleveland, you got Washington. I mean, there are teams that Rivers is going to put numbers up, and he's throwing garbage time TDs, and he's putting up 2 or 3 TDs. I mean, Chief, he's hitting our 18-point benchmark. He's 21, 19, 20. Yeah, he had a 10 one week and 13 another week. But
they all do.
He's right around that number that you're targeting, and if the rest of your team plays the way you think it's capable of playing, that we think it's capable of playing, the Sponge are going to be fine.
I have no problem starting him against Denver this week. I think Denver right now is trading on reputation.
Yeah, and then you have New England next week, and you know that he's going to put up a couple TDs against New England for sure. So
it might work out okay.
We'll see. Like I said, it's a tough division. I would say, but they're all tough divisions, with the exception of the other SoCo division right now. And maybe the NoCo East. That'll probably tighten up a little bit.
The Beavers are way up. They're 3 games up.
Yeah, that's a foregone conclusion. And they get to feast on those teams again and probably lock down the #1 seed, in the conference. So be it. It's can't worry about them right now. I got to get out of my own division. Frankly, I got to claw past Kramer to at least get in the wild card conversation.
You got to get past the K-Wheels this week.
Not really thinking about the K-Wheels this week.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
I am looking past the K-Wheels.
Right past the K-Wheels.
Trap game.
Trap game.
So I don't have Deshaun Watson this week. No Golden Boy this week.
That's true.
All right. With that, should we get into the matchups?
Yeah, Chief.
Sure. Matchups this week, as we've mentioned so far, Sponge are at the Wheels, and the Senator is at the Giant Killers.
The Battle of Hoboken.
Battle of the Fat Pie Five Pledge.
Exactly.
We have the Mongols at the Lizards. The Lizards should continue their winning streak. Hams to the Packers, we mentioned earlier. Dirt Devils at Boba Fett's. And the game of the week, I'm calling the Beavers and the Aliens. We have 2 4-2 teams. Stick's not here to talk about it, so all the more reason for us to. I haven't really looked at this game as far as matchups or anything else, or who's hurt by bye weeks. It looks to be really even, just scrolling down the matchups right now. Everyone's within a point or so of each other, with the exception of that RB1, Bell versus Jai. I don't know. It should be a good game. I don't see either team really having a, besides the Aaron Rodgers injury, having a bye issue. Lamar Miller for the Beavers, and I believe that was it when I was looking at him.
He gets to have Mariota against Cleveland this week, which is a nice start.
Yeah.
It's a nice start until they go up 14-0 and just hand the ball off.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The touchdowns have to be early. They have to be passing TDs early for Mariota, or it won't be a great day.
Or Cleveland has trouble then,
because we all know DeMarco Murray is going to run in at least a couple, because he's on his showcase week to showcase himself to all the contenders of what kind of offer you might want to make to acquire DeMarco Murray's talents.
Berto's got a lot of Patriots playing this week against Brady. A lot of Sunday night games.
Patriot strategy.
Sunday night players.
Yeah. Gillislee and Gostkowski.
Gronkowski.
And Kramer, you're counting on Brady. Amendola too. Wow.
Yeah. Brady the Cooks all day long.
All day long instead of Gronkowski. Man, Berto, you really are loaded up Patriots-wise. Running back, 2 receivers, and the kicker. 4 elements of your team.
I wrote Patriots for years to a tune of 0 packed balls. That sounded good.
Then 61% favorites, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, I think we can all get on board with the Senators this week and having a strong week and knocking down the Killers.
Sponge might disagree.
Next. Yeah. How about the Pro Bowl? Let's talk about the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Ham's coming off a lost 2 in a row now, and going into 5-1 AMPAC. That's a good game. If that's I understand that may not the game of the week we're featuring, but that's a good game of the week too, with the Hams needing a win, really.
Yeah. The impact of the previous 5 weeks for the game of the week 3 times, so they weren't getting in this week.
I approve of that message.
.com has this one. They have the Impact favored by 1. So it should be a really tight, competitive game.
Well, they've got Alex Smith and Drew Brees rated equally, which is telling. The New Orleans Saints put up 52 points last week, and Drew Brees put up 13, which I loved because I was playing against Drew Brees, but that's not good.
Nope.
It's also not common.
No. So maybe he's due for a 30-pointer.
Think about the Impact. They have Fournette, Melvin Gordon in the game.
They're going to start Zeke.
And Zeke, who's got a 0 because I guess they were thinking he was going to be suspended.
They can start McKinnon too. McKinnon
They
had a great week last week.
They have 20 between Fournette and Gordon. But it seems every week the Impact have 2 of their running backs break 15 points.
Yep.
And that's just hard to deal with.
Yep.
So the Impact lead the overall series 10-9, including the garbage games.
All right. Well, Hams with a chance to even up the Bro Bowl series.
By the way, the Killers were 11-5 against the Sens.
The Hams won 96-43 last year. That's a whooping. Yeah, I like the fact they have the streak. Besides the limitations, because we throw those games that don't count in there. It is still stunning to me that going into last weekend, the Giant Killers had beat me 13 times in a row.
Wow, really?
That's just absurd.
That's insane. Chief, you spanked me last year to the tune of 89-41. But I do lead the overall series 11-7-1. Nice.
All right.
So let's get to the trivia answer. Do we got a trivia answer for us?
Yeah.
Sure.
I got to guess, just like everybody else.
I got to guess.
I've got to guess. I've got
Whoa. That is right. Torrey Holt is the correct answer.
Nice.
Oh.
Hold on one second here. Let me find Bill's email here. I said plus or minus 3 points. You are not right on the points per game. It is 5.5.
Oh, too high.
Oh.
Kicker. Who do you got for kicker? Janikowski is not correct. It's Vanderjagt.
Morton Anderson.
Crames, what do you got? I can't see.
He's got Morton Anderson.
No, what do you got for T.O. Morton Anderson?
T.O. and 9 points.
Nope, incorrect. Chief Holt, yes, that's 1 point. 9.5, no. Vinatieri, no.
Okay, who's the kicker?
So Chief, Berto, and Phil, 1 point each.
All right, guest gets a bagel.
Which one did Berto get right?
Are you giving yourself Torrey Holt?
I'm giving myself a point. No, I would have gotten Torrey Holt, but I would have gotten either the points or the kicker. I would have got one of those.
Okay. All right.
Who was the kicker? Who's the kicker?
Yeah,
Vanderjagt.
Mike
Vanderjagt. I should have got that. I knew that. All right. Good trivia. All right. Well, then that brings, just real quick, that will bring our trivia standings to Chief. You got
cares.
Right?
I got Holt right. Yeah.
Chief has 5. Hank has 4. Berto now to 3, and Kramer not living up to the guess. You got a 0, right? So then the guess stays at 2.
Yes.
So our panelists are pulling away from the guest. We may have to help the guest out a little bit in the future trivia questions.
All right. Chief, you want to take us home with a rant? Anything else? Any words of wisdom?
Negative. I used to look for rants. I think when I went to DC for work, I'd always see something that would kickstart something in my head. Now that I telework, what do I rant about?
Hey, I rant about how great
the kids left their sneakers
this week.
Stairs. I almost tripped over them going down. My computer connection didn't start right away. The coffee was too hot. I've got very little to rant about.
All right.
Let me rant the other way real quick, Chief. Nice job on the commissioner report this week. Excellent work.
Excellent work.
Your timing and was fabulous. The pictures were fabulous.
Great report. Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah, the fact that you get these out Tuesday morning is really kudos to you.
Thank you. And again,
That's
not
tough to
possible
do.
without teleworking.
Yeah.
All right.
Those
All
things
right.
take time. I'm looking forward to Terry's next year.
So, and in our sister league, the TFBA has started tonight. So another call
Yes.
out.
Oh yes, the TFBA is underway, and we'll try and spare the webcast and our very loyal viewers any banter in that direction. But
All
let's
right.
just say that Berto's going down in that league this week too.
No, not gonna happen. Anyway, I think that's a wrap. And like we said in the intro, Stick and Amanda,
Or nickel.
hope all is good, and we'll call it a night and see you next week.
Kramer, thanks for joining us. You got any parting shots, Kramer?
No, looking forward to a great second half. Good to be in contention.
All right, along with
We
the
have a few nice
TFFL.
parting gifts for you.
Indeed. Thanks.
Thank you.